Hello, welcome back. My name is Charlie, and today I'm just going to catch you up on everything that I've read since my last video. I think my last video was January or maybe February. It's possible it's February. Anyway, it's been a long time. I've been busy, but we're just going to dive in. I'm not going to bore you with the details of life as a whole. Instead, we're just going to dive into the books. The first book that I want to talk about today is A Marvelous Light. I was reading this at the time of my last video, so I had mentioned it a little bit there. I'm just going to tell you what my thoughts were at the end. My thoughts were that it was fine. Freya Marshke, one of those, is great. Like that's probably just very true. The writing was great. This book wasn't for me. I'm saying that she's great because I know people absolutely love this author and love this series, honestly. It just didn't work for me as much as I wanted it to. I don't know exactly why. I guess I do. The characters didn't work for me. I didn't really care about any of them. And one of them's name was Charlie, and I didn't care about him. The romance, because this was like a romantasy read, didn't do it for me. I didn't find it believable at all. Like the relationship, the two characters that were, the love interests, I didn't feel like they should be together. It happened really suddenly, and I don't know, I didn't buy it at any point. So they were fine though. Like it was fine. I didn't hate the romantic aspect. It was a good romance in general. I just didn't like the foundation, so I didn't buy into any of it. But like it was well done after that point, but the foundation is important to me, I think, and if I don't care about that, then I don't really care about the couple as a whole. That didn't really do it for me. The magic system was neat, but I don't know, it was like based on what's that game with the string, Cat's Cradle, which cool, like that's a cool premise, but I don't know, I don't really care about that either. So it was all fine. I gave it 3 stars. It was like a fine book, like, maybe a little above average, but it was fine. I didn't love it. Will I continue the series? Doubtful. I don't think so. No, I have no plans to do so. I also read The Kinght and The Moth by Rachel Gillig. This was good. I had a good time with this, a better time than I had with the previous one. This was another romantasy read. It was in the month of February where I was like really trying to read more romantasy books, and I had a good time with this. I gave it a 3.5. Not phenomenal, but it was good. I enjoyed it, and I do want to continue this one. I think the sequel comes out like next month, I believe, maybe this month. But I want to pick that up. I probably won't pick it up right away. When I do, it'll be a buddy read again because we read the first one together, so I want to read the second one with everybody. I enjoyed it. It, again, wasn't like a 5-star read, but I had a good time. I had some pretty big gripes. One in particular that it stands out in my brain, and I don't think I can really tell you what that is without spoiling it. So if you're curious to hear my big gripe and you have read the book, leave a comment, ask me about it, and I'll let you know. But it's pretty straightforward. It was a big deal. There was like a thing that happened, and I was like, oh well, that could have been avoided really easily, and it just wasn't. And so that bothered me, and it still bothers me. But I had fun with the writing. It was funnier than I thought it would be. I really liked some of the characters. Bartholomew, if you know, that's great, fantastic character. Like there's a lot of really good things about this book. So yeah, again, really looking forward to the sequel. After that book, I didn't enter into a slump really, but I just kind of deprioritized novels. There was a lot going on here with the babies, and I just needed something easy. And so I picked up comic books, and I just kept picking up comic books. And I'm not going to talk about the comic books that I read in this video. I'm just going to stick to novels. Otherwise, this will be a very long video. But I do plan to do a like comic book, like graphic novel, all that stuff, specific video. That's just not going to be this one. So if you are interested in that, let me know. I'm planning on doing it kind of regardless of interest because it interests me. But right now, this is just going to be all books. So I'm going to skip over like a million things on my Goodreads like read list until I get to a novel that I want to talk about, which is actually The Blacktongue Thief. This was another buddy read. This was the next book that I finished, the next novel. This was a reread for me. The first time I read it, I gave it a 4, maybe 4.5. And on my reread, it was absolutely a 5-star read. I loved this. I think just reading it with other people just really like boosts this story, and it was already fantastic. The first time I read it, I loved it. It started me on this journey with Christopher Bjornman, having him become one of my favorite authors of all time to date. So I really appreciated getting to go back into that world. It's so good. If you haven't read it yet, I implore you to do so. I've talked about it several times on this channel, so I don't need to go too far into details here, but it's fun, it's quippy, it's quick, and it's totally worth your time. I then had the buddy read do The Daughter's War, but I didn't pick it up. I wanted to, I still want to, but it just didn't feel right at the time for me. I just wasn't looking for that, even though that is in my head my favorite book of all time. It's up there at least as one of my favorite books of all time. So I don't really know why, but I couldn't bring myself to pick it up yet. I'm currently reading an arc of the third book in the series, which is coming out in October, The Thrice-Bound Fool, and I'm having a good time with that. Maybe after I finish that, I'll want to go back to The Daughter's War, which is a prequel for the series. So we'll see. But yeah, I didn't read that, so I don't know why I'm talking about that right now. Let's move on to books that I've read. What was that? Winnie the Pooh. Winnie the Pooh I read, and that was 5 stars. I read this mostly to my little baby, but my toddler actually got involved, and he wanted me to read aloud some books to him, so I got to read some chapters to him, which was super fun. Winnie the Pooh is so good. Way better than I thought it was going to be. Really funny, really sweet, but really funny. I didn't expect it to be so funny. There's a ton of like really clever wordplay, which I super appreciated and didn't expect. It was really, really good. I highly recommend it, especially if you have kids, because it was really fun to read it aloud to them, even though, one of them has hardly a brain at all at this point because he's this big, and the other one, I mean, he's 2.5. I don't know how much of it's like really landing. He's not getting the jokes. It was just fun to read to them anyway. And even if you don't have kids, it was super, super lighthearted and wholesome and worth your time. All of the Winnie the Pooh stuff that I've read so far is fantastic. I also read The Darkness Between Us. This was like a what does Matt Dinniman call it? A science friction. It's like a romantasy is romance and fantasy. This is like romantic sci-fi, like romance set in space on a spaceship. This was really good. I didn't expect it. I mean, I expected it to be good because a friend of mine had read it and loved it, and he had recommended it to me. So I thought it was going to be good, but I really, really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars, and I planned on reading the sequel, but I heard the sequel actually kind of sucks. And I don't know. I don't think it really needed a sequel anyway. I just was excited because of how good this one was. So I probably won't be picking up book 2. I'm just going to treat this as a standalone. But as a standalone, fantastic. It's kind of one of those, I feel like a lot of sci-fi is like, Earth is dying, we need to go to a different planet and colonize that place, right? I feel like that's a pretty standard setup, but essentially they send a guy to go do that, or like really, I guess his sister is elsewhere and she sent a distress beacon, so they're like, okay, now you got to go and save your sister. It's kind of the premise. It's been a while. I think that's pretty much how it goes. But he wakes up on the spaceship, as I guess he was supposed to, and he's kind of like looking around and whatever, getting the lay of the land, and he realizes that he's not the only one on the ship, but he was like supposed to be. So that's confusing, and he has no memory of getting into the ship and starting this journey, and so it kind of goes down that route, like, why am I here with this person? How did I get here? Where am I? What are my bearings? All that stuff. And there's like, the AI of the ship is kind of guiding him through it. But yeah, it gets really intense, and it also leans way further into the horror territory than I expected. I didn't know that there were any horror elements, and there were, and they were good. It was really well done. I had a really good time, and this one, like I said, it's like romance. There's a romance aspect of it. It's a queer romance, and it worked for me. I thought it was fantastic. I fully believed that this couple would be like interested in each other, and they were, and it worked for me. I super highly recommend picking this one up if you like sci-fi, if you like queer romance, if you like, I don't know, good books and a good time. It's worth your time. I do recommend it. The next one I want to talk about is very exciting. This is Death to the Dread Goddess. This book was fantastic. Morgan Stang. I love Morgan Stang. He's so good. I talk about Morgan Stang all the time on this channel, but I will say this is possibly my favorite of his books. And that's like, please understand how much I love his books. He's so good. This was fantastic. I don't know what happened, like what made him do this, but he did it so well. Like just the whole book. I knew nothing going into this about what it was. I knew it's a standalone. I knew that it was somewhat related to the Lamplight Murder Mystery series, which I'm obsessed with. There's like this one scene in the first book. If you read it, that scene, you'll know. That character is the main character in this book, and I did not expect to get this much out of them. I didn't expect them to be this much, to be this good. I've never read a character like this. They were so funny, which I know humor is subjective, but I've now read this with several people, or I've talked to several people who have read this book, and we universally agree that the humor is fantastic. It's really good. It just works. Really well done. Not overbearing, but it just like is funny. Like things happen that are funny constantly. It's like laugh out loud funny, but that's not the main part. Like it's not a comedy. It just is really funny. I don't know how to explain that. But like, if you're like, oh, I don't like funny books, doesn't matter. It just happens to be very funny throughout, but it's also just like really endearing, and like this character really tugs on your heart a little bit because they're kind of super relatable, even though they're like this weird little dude. Like I don't know, I love them. I love this character, and I'm not saying their name. I don't know why. I don't want to give you anything about this. It's short. It's not very long book. You can get through it in a couple days, and yeah, I think I just want you to go in blind, but I do want you to go in. Like I'm kind of getting sick of everybody not reading Morgan Stang after I talk about him. He's so good. He's so good. Please pick it up. You owe it to yourself. Read this book. So good. Comic book. Ah, The Red Winter. The Red Winter. Man, am I confused about this book. I read this book wrong. I know that. And so this is my fault, but I gave this 3 stars. And again, my fault. I was loving this book, the first half of the book. I was like obsessed. I kept telling people. I recommended this book to so many people, many of which have picked it up and read it. I think at least in part due to my recommendation, because I was truly loving this in the first half, maybe more than the first half, maybe the first like 60%. It was really good, and I was all the way invested. But I started reading it early in the year, and then I had other commitments, just like in life, and then also like in buddy reads and things. I overcommitted to buddy reads like you wouldn't believe earlier in the year and like the end of last year. I've gotten a little bit out of that habit, I think, but I was bad, and so I kept putting it off. I was like, this is fantastic. I'm going to remember what's going on because it's really landing with me. And I did. I wasn't wrong about that. Like I did not forget anything when I did eventually get back to it. But somehow I just didn't connect with it when I picked it back up. So there were months in between, and like I probably should have just restarted it, but again, I don't think I forgot anything. Like the vibes were right, and I remembered them, and I remembered all the story beats, and I remembered what was going on, except for this one aspect of the book, which is like, I don't know, it's almost like these interlude chapters that I just like couldn't care less about, but I don't think I cared about them even in the first half that I was loving. They were just kind of like a little too, I don't know, ambiguous. I wasn't really connecting with those, but I don't know, the second time around, or not second time, but the second time I picked it up, so the second half of the book, I just cared a lot less. I feel like it got a little bit long. Like it took longer than it needed to. Like I feel like there was a lot of redundancy by the end. We've done this sort of thing. We're doing it again, or we're doing more of it, but it's kind of unfolding in the same ways. I don't know if that's a common or like popular opinion. That's how I feel like I felt. I just wasn't connecting with the story as much or the characters as much, even though the characters were great. And it's like it's queer. It's like kind of romance. Like there's romance in it. I wouldn't call it a romance, but there's a queer romance in it that I really loved. Like that, I thought it was really well done. I thought the characters, at least in the first half, I was obsessed with some of these characters. It just didn't work for me in the end as much as I'd like it to. I do think this deserves a reread, and like for me to read it like truly just like all in one go. But and you know what else? Don't do the audiobook. That's, I think, also a big part of what happened, because I was reading this. I got the physical, or not the physical, the e-arc of it, and I was reading it on my Kindle the first go around, like the first half of it. And then when I got back to it, I had gotten approved for the audiobook arc, and so I switched gears to that. And I knew right away that I wasn't liking the narrator, but I stuck with it anyway. Like I just didn't have the time to read on my Kindle anymore at that point. And so I was doing the audio. And if you've ever watched SpongeBob, this narrator's not going to work for you. He's Patchy the Pirate. The narrator just really accidentally channels Patchy the Pirate for one of the characters, and I couldn't get that out of my head, and that really like lowered the stakes of when that character was talking, and that character was like cool in my head and way less cool in my ear. So that's part of the problem, I guess. But it's like a medieval, like historical fiction kind of fantasy sort of deal. Really cool premise. A lot of it was really well done. The writing was fantastic all the way through. Like I really appreciated the way that it was written. Like the prose, I guess, was really well done. But yeah, again, just didn't really land for me in the end, and I should reread it. And so I'm not not recommending this book. Like I did recommend it wholeheartedly to a bunch of people, and I kind of stand by those recommendations, because again, I do think I messed it up. Read the physical or the ebook, not the audiobook. Give it a shot. I think it's worth your time. Yeah, it's beautiful too. Like the cover is really cool. The magic is really neat. The world is really interesting and deep, and yeah, I don't know. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around it, which I think I said in my review on Goodreads. I've said to many people, at least, that I don't know. I'm confused. I'm conflicted by this one. So I'm going to move on from it because I'm just confusing everybody. Next up, we have another Morgan Stang, the Bookshop and the Barbarian. Yeah, Bookshop and the Barbarian. Again, really good. This was a cozy fantasy book. So we have the Murder at Spindle Manor, right? And that series. There's 3 books out. There's a 4th book coming soon that I'm currently beta reading, which is very exciting to me. But anyway, moving on from that, that is like a kind of a dark, gritty mystery, like murder mystery kind of thing, like very Knives Out a little bit. So like there's like some humor in there, and it's quick. Like they're really short books. Kind of all of these books are really short. The Morgan Stang ones, which I really appreciate. It manages to capture so much in a tiny little page count. But so that's kind of the vibe of that. And then there's Death of the Dread Goddess, which was like more maybe fast-paced, action-heavy, and like funnier and light-hearted. And then there's this cozy book, which was so good. I don't read a ton of cozy fantasy, but when I do, I tend to really enjoy it. And this is like way up there. I really had a good time with this. I loved the characters. I loved the world. And yeah, I would highly recommend this one as well. Don't read the Goodreads reviews for this one. The Goodreads reviews on this one are wild to me. There's like people really, I don't know, took some characters and just decided that they were like inherently just don't read them. They're a waste of your time. Ignore them. They're wrong. I read the book. I talked to many people now who have read the book about like specifically about the issues that people raise in the Goodreads comments or like reviews, and unanimously everybody's like, these people clearly didn't read the book. Like you had your opinion before you picked this book up, and then you smashed it in the ratings. It doesn't make any sense. So just ignore that is my only piece. I'm not going to go into it any further. Just fantastic book. Highly recommend. I also read Dungeon Crawler Carl, The Eye of the Bedlam Bride. I'm looking at my phone here that has this list. The Eye of the Bedlam Bride is book 6 of Dungeon Crawler Carl, and I think it's my favorite. No, I know this is my favorite Dungeon Crawler Carl book so far. I haven't read book 7 yet, but it's coming soon. Coming soon. Yeah, I'm going to read it soon is what I mean. Book 6, really, really good. How much more can I say about Dungeon Crawler Carl? It's a great series, super fun. Everybody talks about this online. You know what it's about. This is book 6. I'm not going to tell you specifically what's happening in book 6. Really good, though. The best of the series so far that I've read. And I've heard book 7, I've heard it works for some people, doesn't work for others. But the things that work for those people are like exactly what I'm looking for. So I think it will work for me, and I am excited. Moving on, The Call of the Wild by Jack London. This is my first Jack London book. Timothy Burbage is always talking about Jack London on his channel, which I'll link below. And this was great. I didn't know what to expect if I would like Jack London. His books came out a long time ago because he's old. Is he alive? I don't know. But his books came out a long time ago. And this book definitely felt dated in some aspects, like just the way that he talks about some stuff. I was like, is that a thing that you want to say like that? I wouldn't say it like that. So there were some aspects of that, but didn't hinder my enjoyment of the story at all because I know that it's dated, so I can give a little grace with some of that stuff. But this is a book about a dog, which I've not read that before. A book where the main character is a dog and we're following him through this crazy life, but really good, super fun. 4 stars I gave this one. A really quick read too. It's itty bitty, and this dog goes through so much. There's a lot of love and loss, and relationships formed and ended sometimes in brutal ways. There's this one scene in the book that's heartbreaking. These people. And I can't tell you what happens because it's near the end of the book, but oh man, it really, really got me. It was really good. Really well done. All of that. I didn't think a dog could be made so human. They really humanized him, but not in a way that felt unbelievable. I believed that this character was a dog. That's a dog doing dog things, but just having real human emotions. It kind of made you, I don't know, makes you think about your own animals and what are they actually getting out of their life or their experiences? What are they internalizing? How are things actually impacting them? Is this how it goes? I don't know, but it's believable. And yeah, crazy story, but really, really good. Different from the things that I typically read, but I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely pick up more Jack Vance. And then we get to The Caretaker by Marcus Klewer. I'm not 100% sure on how to say that name. I read We Used to Live Here last year, yeah, and I loved it. I think that's a great book. Highly recommend you read We Used to Live Here. I talked about it when I read it. Great book. Super fun. The horror book, and it really spooked me, which I'm not easily scared. But it got me. I couldn't come down here to my basement while I was reading that book because it's dark and spooky down here, and it's really good book. So I was really excited about this, The Caretaker, which was a recent, came out this year, and I picked it up and read it pretty much right away. And man, do I hate this book! It's not good. It's not a good book. You should not read it. I gave it a 1 on Goodreads, because you can't do. I guess maybe you can do 0 stars. I don't know. I gave it a 1 because I didn't set the book on fire, but it's not good. I don't like it. I'll stop repeating myself there. But man, the character, I don't mind an unlikable character. This character goes far beyond being unlikable. They are insufferable. Not only are they just so angsty for reasons that are somewhat valid, but they're also just completely useless. The whole premise of this book is that the the main character gets a job, and the job is to do things, like to be a caretaker of this house, take care of this house. And yeah, the house is weird, and the house has like very specific rules, but they're easy. And it's like, okay, there's one rule, follow the rule and you'll be okay. Break that rule though, and it's going to get harder. And then if you break those rules, it gets harder and harder and harder. And the things that you'll have to do are more intense and more serious and all that stuff. But like rule number one is literally keep the lights off. And she walks around the house and doesn't turn the lights off. And it's like, okay, that's your fault. Like, that's your fault. Just flip the switch. And some of the light switches are like faulty, so I thought that'd be a problem. Like, she couldn't turn it, but that's not. She just doesn't do it. Doesn't do it. That's a spoiler, probably, but not really. It's early on, and just it doesn't matter, because you shouldn't. Don't read it. It's so bad. I hated this book. It's also not. I didn't find it scary at all. There were like a couple things like at the beginning. Like the first chapter was pretty cool and interesting, and then not so much after that. Just nothing interesting, nothing at all. Not creepy. There was like, things that should have been creepy, I thought. Like the setup for like multiple scenes, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good now. This part is gonna be good. Oh no, not that one. Maybe in the next one. Oh, that one's even worse. But this next one, there's so much potential. Oh, squandered. It's just it breaks my brain how good of a premise he had, or not even a premise really, because the premise is like kind of somewhat boilerplate, but like it's kind of, there's a lot of horror that is somewhat similar setup, similar enough. I'm not saying that this book ruined my life, but it did not live up to any expectations that I set. I almost DNF'd it. I probably should have, because then I wouldn't be this mad about it. But I wanted to see it through, because I did really love that other book, and because the scenes kept making me think that they were going to be good, and that they weren't. Man, it was bad. I was definitely also holding out hope that the ending would like come together and it would like work. And I needed to know how it was going to resolve, or if it was going to resolve, or whatever. And then the ending was like potentially the worst part, in my opinion. It just, like, I was gonna give it like a 1.5 or a 2, and then the ending happened, and I was like, oh, that's just useless. Like the whole book, it's just absolutely useless. Waste. Okay, moving on. This is that's the most negative I'll get on a book probably ever on this channel. I don't like to do this, but man, this one wronged me. I will still read more books by this author, because 50% of the books that I've read by him were great, but this one's not it. The Day of the Triffids was a good book. This one was great, except for one thing, and this isn't the book's fault, really. It's the publisher's fault. I didn't know this about books in general, but this is a very British book, and so I'm sure it came out over there first. But I got a copy here where I live in America, and the cover was really cool, and I was really excited about that. And I got it home, and I had the audiobook in, and then I was tandem reading it, and you can't do that, I found. And the reason for that is that apparently publishers used to just kind of do whatever they wanted. So like over in the UK, they released the book the way that it was written, and then when they were releasing it in America, they like removed an entire character, or they removed like, what was it, like 20% of the book or something like that. So the copy that I have is like an incomplete version of the book. And from what I can tell from listening to the audiobook and checking it against the book, like the parts that were omitted were like good and like important. Like a full character, at least one character was removed, maybe more, but like that character was impactful. So it's confusing to me. But anyway, that doesn't matter. Just know that when you pick this book up, if you ever do, which I think you should, because it was great. I gave it 5 stars, or like 4.5 maybe, but 5 stars on Goodreads. It's great. Like, it's a great book. Just know that. Like, get the original version. Just don't get the US version, because I don't know why they did that. But anyway, moving on. This is the book that apparently inspired 28 Days Later, like that whole franchise technically. But Sort of. I thought that this was the book that inspired the movie 28 Days Later, but it's really apparently the opening scene of this book inspired like the opening scene of the movie. So just do with that what you will. Very different from those movies. And what this was just like really a cool sci-fi horror survival story, where like, these Triffids are these plants that are like sentient plants that are like dangerous and like they'll get you. It's creepy. Like it was definitely creepy. Very atmospheric. The writing was really good at making things feel eerie, even when they weren't really doing anything scary, or like nothing was happening necessarily, but just there's an air of bad around everything. Really good. And the characters were strong, and the reveals were big and impactful. There was a lot of like big character arcs for even small characters, which I thought was really neat. Characters that you think are going to go away come back, and it's like, oh, you've been through some stuff, you've had growth and change, or not growth, like but change. I really enjoyed this. This one's technically a book. There are dads way worse than you. This is like a gag gift that I got for Father's Day. I read it in 12 seconds. It's like, essentially a children's book for adults, specifically geared towards dads. It's like just a joke essentially, but it was fun. There were fun references. Again, it took 12 seconds to read it. I don't know. It was fun. If you need a gag gift for a dad, this is a good one. I'd recommend it. Sure. The Empress of Salt and Fortune. I was looking forward to this book. I wanted to read this for years. Little novella, tiny little thing. I really needed something quick and easy to read. Just easy, I guess, just because it's short. This was a buddy read, and it was good. It was all right. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. 3.5 stars. I think I would read it again at some point. If I were to continue this series, I think I would want to reread this one. I think it deserves that. I think I would understand a lot more. I think I was confused a lot of the time in the book, not because it's confusing, like hard to understand, but I think it's written intentionally to be a little ambiguous. Like I think all of us in the buddy read were kind of like, what's actually going on? Like what are these things that we're talking about? What are we actually doing here, chapter to chapter? And then at the end, you're like, oh, that's what we were doing there. So I think on a reread, I wouldn't have to like be confused. And so I'd probably enjoy it more. It was good though. Like the writing was good. It just, I don't know, didn't super do it for me. But yeah, mostly had a good time with it. The ending was really satisfying. And kind of, it did tie a lot of things together. But I just wish things got tied up a little bit sooner, or like there was less to tie up. Would have been good. I think this isn't even my idea. Somebody else in the buddy read pointed out that they think it'd be better if you read it in like a single sitting. Like if you just sat down with this book and read it in like 1 or 2 sittings, it would probably benefit from that. Because there is, like I said, there's a lot of loose threads. But if I could have gotten to the resolution sooner, then probably that would have mattered less. But I did read it really slowly. Like I doled it out over the course of the month, even though it's like tiny. And I bet that is true. So smart. Okay, we're gonna go a little bit quicker through these last few because it's getting late over here, and I gotta go up. I can't stay up forever. So quicker through these last ones. We'll see if I can do that. Those Across the River by Christopher Buehlman. This is his debut novel. Again, Christopher Buehlman, one of my favorite authors, so it was really cool to get to see where he started. I had started with his stuff when The Blacktongue Thief came out. I read The Blacktongue Thief, or at least it was around then, so I had started with, at the time, his most up-to-date book, like his most recent book, and now I have read his first one. That's cool. I've seen the whole journey now, and there is some stuff in this book where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a debut novel. Like I get that that's fine. I can excuse some things. So there's like a little bit of grace that I gave with that. But his writing style is still consistent. Like the actual sentences that he writes were still fantastic, like beautifully woven together. Really, really well done. His prose and his characters are so deeply flawed in a lot of his books, and this is no exception to that. A lot of the characters in this, especially the main character, like, yeah, you got issues, dude. Like there's problems there. But I love this. This was really good. This is another one. I mean, I guess kind of all of these, I like going into books knowing nothing. So I don't typically like to tell a ton of details about a book. And I didn't even know the main like beastie that you deal with in this book. And I think that's a good way to go about it. Some of the covers of the book ruin that for you, but I didn't know. My cover just has a big tree on it. So if you get that one, then you don't know what's going on here, and it's fun to find it out. So yeah, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you what's going on, but it's like classic horror movie setup. Like a couple of horn dogs move into a new house that they shouldn't be in, and people are like, "Oh, don't go there." Like it's like a cursed house, and it's like, "Oh, okay." Is it? And then yeah, it is, right? Like, or the house isn't cursed, but things happen here that are bad, and you shouldn't live there, right? So I feel like that's in a million horror movies and books, and just same setup here, which felt good. Like it felt like that's where we're supposed to be right now, and that's where we are, and it was great. Yeah, really fun read. I had a good time with it. And I would recommend this one highly. I don't think it's a bad place to start with Christopher Beelman either. Some people like going in publication order with like an author and his works. I don't think you could go wrong here. It was solid. And then the most recent fantasy book that I read is The Bone Raiders by Jackson Ford. This book was great. I want more people to read this book for a very specific reason. Well, I guess multiple reasons. One, it's awesome. It's great. It's like the main cast of this book, the Bone Raiders themselves are just like, it's this awesome all women raider clan kind of thing. And they're awesome, like really cool, really strong, or like, strong characters. I mean, not just like muscle strong, although they are muscle strong as well. Some of them, it really, 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 really cool characters. I really appreciate that there are like, I don't know, are there any men in this book that matter? Like hardly. So that's neat. There's also a big focus on this lesbian couple in the book, which is like, that's great representation. And then there's also a deaf character is like one of, not a POV character in this book, but like a main character, I would still say, or like, one of the main characters. She's like a big deal in the book, and she's deaf. And that's just like, you don't see that in books, especially not fantasy books. I have read, a couple hundred fantasy books at this point, maybe. Is that accurate? I don't know, but I've read a lot of fantasy books at this point. And I have read one other book with a deaf character in it, and that character was great. I really liked that. That's Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson has a character named Fort, I think. And yeah, nothing against that character, really cool, but they communicate using this like magical tablet, and this character and the Bone Raiders in general communicate, or at least they communicate with this character via sign language, which is like, that's great. Like deaf representation is awesome. And then also like using that character, but like as a real human, and just weaving together like into the story seamlessly, naturally, that they're signing to each other and not making it a big deal either. Like, I don't know. This is always something that sticks out to me when there's representation in a book and it just happens, like, and it doesn't have to happen. Like, there's no reason that this character has to be deaf. Does that make sense? Like, they could be not. They could be a hearing character, and their character, their story arc, all this stuff would be largely the same, except that they would be like speaking with people and like hearing people, and instead they're signing. And it's really, I don't know how to describe why I like that, but it's making the character deaf because why not? Because they can be deaf. Because why couldn't they be deaf? And not making them deaf because they want to make a statement about like, oh, deaf people can do it too, and like, you know, really highlighting the fact that this character is deaf and like overcoming deafness, and because there's nothing to overcome, like they just are a human person that exists, and they're in this story because they are just as valid as any other demographic to be put in this story. Does that make sense? I don't know if I'm making any sense with that, but I thought that was so important. I thought that was so cool to me. I have deaf family members. I don't know if I mentioned that, but so that is really important to me, to have deaf representation. And I thought Jackson Ford did a great job with it. It's not perfect. Like the representation was not perfect, but I spoke to Jackson Ford about that. And he, or not about that. I spoke to him just telling him how great it was, like the book, and how much I appreciated that character specifically. And he wrote back and he was like, oh, like, you sound like you know a bit about the deaf culture and deaf people in general. So you're going to notice that I didn't get it exactly right. For book 2, he told me that he worked with a deaf sensitivity reader to like really nail it, which I super appreciate. That's like going above and beyond, like the extra step, you know, which I just really appreciate, because he didn't have to do that. Because, you know, like I said, I know a bit about the deaf culture and all that, and I did notice that it wasn't exactly right, but I still loved this book, and I still am like obsessed with the fact that it had this representation in there. So it obviously didn't bother me, the things that he got wrong. So I'm really, they're not wrong, but, you know, not right. Well, anyway, I'm really intrigued to see what he changes, or you know, how he improves on that part of the story in book 2, because he also told me that deaf character is like becomes a POV character in the second book, which is, I'm very intrigued. The ending of this book was so cool, and I'm really excited to pick up book 2. I think it's going to be one of my next reads. I have a couple things in the pipeline, but I want to get to it like kind of ASAP, because I really, really loved this. I gave it 4.5 stars, and I'd recommend this to anybody. It really, really, really good. And then the final book, the book that I just finished the other day, How to Deal with Your Blank So That Your Kids Don't Have to. This is a nonfiction. I don't read a ton of nonfiction, and when I do, it's not typically, it's usually like a dinosaur book, or like a book about shipwrecks, right? Like I like nonfiction, but that type. But this was like a borderline like self-help. I guess not borderline. Maybe this is called a self-help book. I guess it is. It helped myself. So maybe it's that kind of nonfiction. It's like a parenting book, sort of, but one that I think you should read even if you're not a parent. Like it's kind of a child book. Like it's about you, like as a person, and the things that you might be dealing with, and it covers like a lot of, like a broad spectrum of things. Like, if you know, you could be I don't know, you could be dealing with trauma, you could be depressed, you could be lonely, you could be anxious. There's an umbrella of things that it covers, and it talks about why you might feel like that and how that might make you act. And then it also, there's a big part of it, most of the book is about how that would impact your children, or how that could impact your children. I don't think it's only for parents, even though that is definitely like the main audience. But I think people that don't have kids could still get a lot out of this. I got a lot out of this book. I did the audiobook of this that I got from my library, but I kind of really want to pick up a physical copy of this at some point, so that I can, you know, kind of easily quick reference specific sections of specific chapters that just I thought were helpful for me. And it would be nice to have like a quick reference of like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling these things right now. This is how I'm behaving, and this is like, these are the steps that I can take to improve my behavior, which will in turn improve my relationship with my children, which is like obviously super important to me as a father of 2. So yeah, I thought this was great. I've recommended this to several parents that I know already, and I just, yeah, if you're a parent, I definitely think you should read this, especially if you're like in like the millennial age range, because there's things that we're dealing with that you know this addresses, and it helps. I thought it helped. So yeah, especially if you're a parent. But I don't know, consider it even if you're not. It was really, really good, really well done. And that's it. Those are the books that I've read since my last video here. I am now going to really quickly just jump into a couple of other things, like just me updates, channel updates, stuff like that. So if you are just here for the books, thank you so much for stopping by. If you want to hear a little bit more about me and what's going on for my life and I guess mostly the channel going forward, stick around for a couple more minutes and I'll give you an update. As you can see, we're a little bit different right now. I upgraded my lighting. I think I improved my microphone settings, and I got some new gear all around the little office here. So that's just like a fun. Let me know if you like it, if this looks better, if it sounds better, if it's worse. Let me know that too. I don't know what to do with this orange light, so tell me what you think I should do with that. And yeah, the framing, is it too tight? Is it, I don't know. Give me feedback on how this looks and sounds. Cause I put in a lot of work in the past week to try to like fine tune my settings and my setup and my workflow. So I don't know. We'll see if that works. Outside of that, like I said, I've been reading a ton of comic books in the last several months, and I love comic books. I always have loved comic books. Up behind me on my videos, there's typically some of my comic book collection, and I've been expanding that recently, as well as reading a lot on like digitally. So I don't have all of the comics that I've been reading. I don't own them. Like libraries have been a big help, but I've been reading a lot of comic books, right? So anyway, I've been doing that. I want to talk about that here. I typically don't, like historically, I haven't spoken much about the comic books that I read. And I know a lot of you are not interested in comic books, but I'm interested in comic books. And I think that's like kind of a direction I want to take the channel, is like a little bit, I'm still going to mostly talk about books, but I want to just have it be less of like a booktube specific channel and just more of like a Charlie specific channel, if that makes sense. Like when I started, I wanted to be books and board games, and then the board games were tough to make videos for, and I didn't really know what I was doing. And so I made a couple of videos that I'm proud of those videos, but they were hard and they don't really fit in with the book stuff. So they don't perform like well at all. Like all of my lowest performing videos probably are like my board game stuff. I really like that content though. So I'm hoping that I can bring that back a little bit, but not for a while, because I'm not really playing board games right now. But I'm reading comic books, so I want to talk about that. I'm watching movies, so I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the things that I'm doing. Like I want to play more D&D, and when I do that, I want to talk about it here. So in short, the direction I want to take this channel is pretty much the same direction that it's in, but with just like a little bit more me and outside of books. So that, I don't know, do with that what you will. If you're watching this part of the video, you'll probably be watching those videos. So I'm just giving you a little heads up. And if you're not watching this, you're not going to tune in for those videos, most likely. But I think that's okay, because I want to keep making these, but I want to make the content that I want to make, especially right now when I'm not coming back like in a consistent schedule right now, right? So this video is here. My next video is not going to be next week. Maybe it'll be next month. That'd be great. I'm going to slowly ramp back up into making content. Like I said, I just upgraded my whole setup here, right? So like I like this. I want to keep going with this, but I'm not going to just commit to going weekly again right now. It's just not the life setup that I have right now. I'm like just not doing that. So I will be back in more of a regular schedule, hopefully sometime soon. I'm hoping that you'll see me at least once a month going forward. And if I can eke out an extra video here and there, I will. I have a bunch of really fun ideas of things that I want to do. Like I I want to do, like I said, a video on all the comic books that I've been reading, like kind of a video on like how I got back into reading comic books. I think that'd be super fun, and I think a lot of you could benefit from that because you should be reading more comic books probably. And I also I like want to do like a little bit of a tech review, kind of, which is like not my space at all, but I have this little e-reader that you've probably seen information about online that I'm loving. It's like a huge part of why I've been able to read anything in the last several months, and I'd love to do a video on that. I have like a bunch of footage for that already, like little b-roll things that I've done, things like that. Like I have a lot of ideas for things that I want to do, and I'm really excited to be back in the chair and you know, with you and talking to the camera, and so yeah, I am back, but just a little bit differently. And the cadence for sure is going to be slower than it used to be. But I also now just started recently an Instagram account. So if you want, you can follow me on Instagram, where there will be not daily updates, but more frequent updates, because on Instagram, I can really quickly post something to my story, and it's just easier. It's faster to post something to my story. Not that I think reels are easy. I haven't made any reels. I don't plan on really making any reels, but I'm going to post a picture that I think is pretty every now and then. I'm going to put things on my story as I read through books, so you'll have a bit more of the information. Like if you want to be more in the loop on me and you feel like you're missing out in any way, Instagram will be kind of how you can do that. I think if I keep it up, I'm having fun with it right now, so I think I will. I'm there. I'm on Letterboxd now. If you want to see the movies that I'm watching, you can join me there. I'm on Comic Geeks if you want to see the books that I'm reading, like the comics that I'm reading. I'm still on Goodreads. Not really doing any other book tracking apps right now, but Goodreads is still the place to be for my my book updates. And I've got a couple of really exciting things in the pipeline that I'm really excited to share with you. I can't yet, but just I'm really excited for a couple of things. One in particular that's I don't know. I'm still like a little bit in disbelief that it's going to be a thing. I think I should be able to talk about it soon, but it's like kind of not officially official yet. But I'm very excited. So stay tuned for that update and a couple others that are smaller, but they'll be here eventually too. Things are happening. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be back. Again, just bear with me on like how I'm coming back here, and bear with me on some of the small content changes. Largely, this will be the same channel as it was, but I just, a little bit different here and there. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got for you today. I said this is going to be quick, or that I was going to try to be quick, but I think I rambled anyway. So business as usual. Thank you so much for watching. I really, really appreciate you stopping by. If you're still here at the end of the video, I appreciate you just a little bit extra. And if you comment down below, I'll appreciate you just that much more. So yeah, thanks so much. Happy to be back. I'll see you soon. Bye.